4, 3, 2, 1. Let's get started. Welcome back to Guided Primal Sutra podcast, GPS podcast. Today we're talking all about spirituality and racism. Okay.
hmm
And have you ever heard spiritual teachers say everything is all one, Ryan?
Yeah, yeah, I have.
And yet when the second shit gets real, that unity disappears faster than your ex when you started healing, right?
Shut the fuck up, but yes.
But yeah, spirituality isn't some sanitized utopia, right?
That's correct.
It's about looking into the, raw, ugly ancestral trauma that still
hmm
lives in our
I
bones.
see.
And you can't meditate away the scars of colonization. You can't chant love and light over centuries of oppression and expect it to
Nope.
just, dissolve. However, there's soul work that goes into this, you know? Race is just an illusion, bro. You're stuck in the 3D. If you're ever bringing it up, yeah, okay, I'm too scared to face my own shadow, so I'll gaslight you with metaphysics. That's the translation.
Okay. Okay.
Then you have the woke
Hmm.
warriors, the ones who believe everything is oppression and victimhood. They get trapped in fighting shadows instead of stepping into their power. I mean, both of these are
Yes.
traps, right? So both of them keep you locked into this specific
Well,
code.
each of these are seeking their own comfort. That's at least my
Mm,
understanding of it, right? One wants to escape from one aspect of reality by simply making everything
mhm.
spiritual and that's it, without addressing, yeah,
Or
the elephant in
bypassing
the room.
Buddhas. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, there's a time and place to bypass, but that's not a topic to bypass, in my opinion. The other one is no one wins playing the victimhood card, at least not on the long term, in my opinion. And I've been in both camps, and the long and short of it would be it is unproductive. I want to get things done at some point. And the last
Have
thing
you ever
we
been
need.
able to have you ever been able to transmute your racism or racism directed towards you ever?
Hmm. In some sense, I'd say even before the spiritual path, I just made a decision that you know what, people will be people, and some are good and some are bad. And if we have to fight, I'll either see them on the mats or on the streets or have a verbal altercation. My job is to not get into those kind of situations. That's all it is. And over time, I realized it is my job as a shaman or spiritualist, in whatever sense, to keep raising
Yeah.
my vibrations so that those types of energies, regardless of ethnicities, don't affect me. Because I have things to do.
Hmm.
That's uh that's how I'll answer it. Yes.
Got it. I'm gonna just edit a few settings here because I don't know if people can comment.
Ah, so we disabled the
Because
comments.
I
Perfect.
now they can. Okay.
Okay, we got to
Cool,
log
guys. My bad
in.
for that. Too locked in,
Haha,
man.
too
But yeah,
logged
you
in.
can't transcend unless you play the role we gave you is a weird mindset to take on because the whole point of spirituality is evolution and
Right.
stepping beyond the programs or the traumas into something higher. But I don't think racism is just a social issue, Ryan. I think it's a spiritual wound because every
Okay.
culture has ancestors who has also suffered, right? And
Uh-huh.
every person alive today has karmic imprints from both sides. So it isn't about
Absolutely.
guilt.
So, but what
It's
do you
about
do when you
responsibility.
have genetics of both the oppressed and the oppressor?
Mm,
That
well,
becomes even more
yeah,
complicated. You know what I mean? I don't even know where to begin with that. And everybody has it to a certain extent. Be it the
yeah.
Balkans, be it African, Indians have it, it's shit. Even what is considered,
Mm,
Western European white, Start within yourself.
mm.
Exactly. Well said, Crystal. The way
So what's
I,
the real move?
well, to untangle this spaghetti thing by starting with yourself,
Flying
Crystal
spaghetti
makes a good point.
monster?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, that's one way to start with it. Again, this is not my favorite topic, but it's a topic that is juicy as fuck. So here we are. How would I
What about
begin?
shadow work on a cultural scale?
Not impossible, but it needs to start with one yourself, your loved ones, colleagues, and just keep spreading it. Shadow work is, in one sense, by asking the right question and have questions and allowing to be a space of reflection to
Exactly.
take place, right? Which gives the audience, which gives those that are partaking in such an exercise, the ability to actually reflect on the situation and make their own decision, right? The whole point
Mm,
of either being a trip sitter or being a shadow or coach or whatever you want to call it is I must allow the process to take place and have the individuals come to their own conclusion by going as inward as they can, facing whatever they need to face, and come out of it in whatever form it's required of them for the new level.
yeah.
That's how I see it.
And I think like culture should be revered to the level where, of course, the wokeism is going to say cultural appropriation and so forth. But I think culture should be really revered, man, because imagine like if Indians today, they really respected the Mahabharata to that level that they started
Okay.
to, embody that quality, that avatar within themselves, that would
Yes.
be absolutely phenomenal. Or like if you're like a person of African American origin, you tap into that, you know, like essence of like the ghetto or something, or you can even tap into like, Wakanda
Okay.
forever. Like it's completely up to you where you take that. And it's like,
Yes.
that's such a beautiful thing to actually have these reflections, right? Because I don't think we're just here to be childs of our ancestors. I think you're here to become the upgrade. You're here to actually
Okay.
evolve what your ancestors have done and not just be in tradition, but be the living tradition.
Be the living tradition, exactly, and a proof upon it is. Right. Right. So, to the topic at hand. One thing that I've noticed constantly is Indians, and I've been guilty of this as well. And when I mean Indians, I don't mean Native Americans or natives necessarily. I mean Indian Indians, right? They only respect their culture, our culture, in a more traditional sense. Like, oh, this is just something I have to do, and that's it.
Mhm.
Whereas the embodiment is missing. And I believe we talked about this, I think last week, just between you and me and I. Um, India wants to be the West,
Yeah, no, very
right?
true.
India
Yeah.
wants to be
It's
the
like this
West.
inferiority complex thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's like the West is better and therefore I have to copy everything that they do. And
there's some
yeah, it's
truth to that because I do see how, let's say, an over investment in yoga doesn't exactly make a man strong. I mean, it's gonna make you hyper flexible and it's gonna give you a long life, likely, but
that's the
you
thing.
need to
Most
combine both.
yogis aren't like, they aren't flexing their muscles. They aren't going out like, showing off their strength in that way
Now
either. So it's like it's tough to
they're
really judge.
yeah, I know what I
Yeah.
mean, right? But it's like
Yeah.
how are we going to market this? But if you have like a Arnold Schwarzenegger or Tom Plass looking motherfucker that could do the yogi things as well, that's a different story. That's a different level of mastery,
Hmm.
right? And I'm just talking
Yeah.
shit. That's why this is a podcast.
Right.
But
I think it's also like, the goal isn't, of course, colorblind utopia, right? It's a reality where every person reclaims their individual power, whatever culture they belong to. Um, it's not one culture is better than the other, and like there's a boxing match between us. Instead, it's like who's really there to heal, right? Some people are just like, let go of the past. I tell those people, what have you done to actually heal your past?
Right. A fair point,
Because it's
fair
going to show
point.
up,
It's going to show
you
up
know? Yeah.
regardless. But to also give acknowledgement to Crystal, she makes a very good question. What exactly is wrong with culture sharing within each other? Are things meant to be stagnant and stay the same story for every culture indefinitely? First things first. Uh, as an individual, I cannot really judge or give a proper argument for that, right? Which feels like a complete cop out. But what I can do is decide for me myself what that means. Water that is stagnant rots. So by that logic, culture must keep evolving or grow old, right? So that's
Yeah.
one part. The argument that was made between Sumit and myself had to do with the Dutch saying would be he who cannot appreciate his own culture is not worth another. That's the rough Dutch saying, which roughly translates into if you can't appreciate your own culture, how can you appreciate the next? And that's kind of the argument that we're making towards what we're seeing in the Indian culture. At least,
Yeah, that's true, man. I mean, I see racism as actually a lot of ignorance. It's just ignorance, you know? It's not really like the term racism.
we have got to get a
So,
soundboard.
ignorant. Yeah,
Ignorant,
we need,
anyway.
we, um,
Continue. Yeah,
we do need a soundboard. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I think that basically it's like for instance, I'll tell you a story. Like when I was in middle school, this
sure.
bunch of bullies called me Aladdin and started singing or whatever. And I started singing louder than them. I can show you the world. I started to
Oh, they
dominate
didn't go
them.
with Arabian Nights, man. What a miss.
They didn't go with Arabian Nights at the time. He said, oh, I can show you the world. And then they called me Sumo because I was a little bit chubby. But anyway, besides that point,
Ah, okay, that is
I
clever.
think that it was clever.
Sorry,
But then
sorry,
again,
continue.
yeah, yeah. So when they told me this, right, I immediately like sang louder. And what that did is it transmuted that energy for me in that moment.
Hmm.
And the reason was really petty. Okay. Like he saw I had a crush on his sister or something during the time or something like this randomly.
I
And
mean, bro, he had a crush on his sister. Of course he's
I
gonna be
didn't.
protective.
What the fuck, bro? Like,
Okay.
but yeah, it was a projection. It was like some kind of a
Yes,
random
it
thing that
was a
he just put
projection.
onto me. However, however, it didn't call for this random Aladdin singing, in the middle of nowhere.
Right, right,
So,
right, right.
so I think the real key is like, where are these haters coming from, right? It's just the only thing they can latch onto is Aladdin. He can't even think of like Apu from the Quickie Mart or nothing. Like his brain just went to an invented place, right?
Well,
Agrabah is a made-up place, guys. I'm sorry.
well, it goes to show you, the grasp Disney has on the minds of the youths that it even outcompetes the Simpsons, you know?
Ah,
That's one. Two, um, shit, that would have been my first option too. Truth be told. uh,
yeah. Did you ever
because
get
let's face it,
mogged before by someone?
a few times, a few times. It has a lot to do
In
with me
terms of your
being
race,
of.
though? I don't think so.
I mean, it's kind of hard to pinpoint what I am, especially because I come from a kind of culturally
That's true. We
diverse
both do.
background.
We both look Mexican, let's be honest, bro.
We both know we're like non-Spanish speaking Mexicans, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Powerhouse just cracks up. We have got to learn Spanish at some point. But anyway, Viva la
Hey,
raza
shout
and
out
all that shit.
Sedona, yeah. Yeah.
We will be visiting Sedona this year, indeed. Anyway, the point is, in the wrestling culture that I'm a part of, you're gonna have to learn to roll with the punches. And one of the funniest shit, at least funny to me, is that the coaches try to mimic either Indian or Sudanese accents and get the accents confused, which is just hilarious to me. It's just so
Mm.
fucking funny to me, right? And I like to enjoy those moments.
Mm.
Another thing is I like to make um I wouldn't say race baiting jokes, but more so very edgy jokes at times where one of the white dudes at like some how would you call this in English? Like after party or something asked me why don't I date white chicks a lot? And I just said, I don't know, might be colonism or whatever. And then I just heard a few people just spit out a drink or whatever and just started laughing. And that's just kind of how I process shit. Just make a big joke, move on.
Yeah. Use humor, yeah. I think humor is used well by comedians who can actually skirt through racist topics in a certain way where they're not directly making fun of someone, but they're kind of indirectly like riding the wave of that humor. I think that's actually powerful. Chad Preach Subliminals, welcome, bro. Um, Fuck
What's
yeah.
up, bro?
This is a great topic for you to join.
Yeah, go ahead, give your
Mm.
perspective, your opinions. Crystal says ignorance is bliss, can go both ways. Yeah. Sometimes you can just, sometimes you gotta just laugh at someone's ignorance. Yeah, just fucking laugh, man. What can you do?
Yeah.
It's either you can
Yeah.
choose to beat the fuck out of him and he's still going to be some ignorant bastard, or just laugh at it and
Ignorant.
have a good time. And of course, if he puts his hands on you, beat his brace off, take that as you will, and continue on with life. Also, disclaimer: do not be an idiot. Follow the laws of the land, right? Wherever you're from.
I think, yeah. If you didn't read the disclaimer, you bet just read the disclaimer. Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
in some countries, it's
yeah.
illegal to carry knives, or legal.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, in this country, in the Netherlands, it's illegal to carry guns unless you have a permit, and that's a different story
Mm.
altogether. But a knife, apparently, if you have, looking at your fingers, like 3 or 4 fingers long, is still allowed. Again, I'm not an expert. This is just something I researched on my own and figured, okay, what should I be walking with? Only to later
Wait, wait,
find out,
wait. What do you mean? You have to grow your fingernails, you mean? Like
no, not your fucking
like they're
fingernails. I said your fingers, man, your fingers. And this
Oh,
has nothing to do with the
okay.
topic, by the way. This is just something that my
Yeah.
mind
What
is
the fuck?
just baffles. But the worst thing I figured out, and I'm just
Mm.
mostly concerned for the women, is that pepper spray is illegal now in the Netherlands. And I'm just going, but why? I
Mm.
mean,
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes you just gotta laugh it off. Yeah, that's true. And at least saying I have problems with racism because I'm mixed as fuck, I feel like I'm nowhere home. Yeah, I mean I felt like that because not because I'm mixed, but because I can't even pinpoint what I am. Like I feel like an alien outsider, you know?
well, bro,
And that's valid.
at least you're in
That's
India.
very valid.
I grew
That's
up in
true.
like two different countries. I'm not even near India. What am I supposed to say? And like my little bit of my background story based on the well, I wouldn't necessarily call it past life regression, more so the regression of the ancestor heritage, and then we found out, oh shit, someone killed somebody and had to flee. I can't exactly go back and announce whose blood ties I'm a part of, so to speak. So that has again nothing to do with the topic at hand, but it does have to do with um, the complexity of everything around it. Because I don't know if you know, but when I actually meet an Indian guy from India, not including you, you can tell that he's from India, and he can tell that I am not from India. You know what I mean? Like we share blood, but that's it.
Yeah. It's like you see like a very let's say Chinese American looking guy, and he's like, "Hey, I'm
Yeah,
Fred" or whatever, like
yeah,
when
yeah,
his
yeah.
real
With a
name is
very
like Ling Zong or something, you know.
like a very
But
thick
yeah,
Texan accent. He's wearing a cowboy hat and everything. Yeah,
howdy partner, yeah, exactly.
his name is Ho Chi
Yeah, I
Minh,
mean
but we
we
call him Bob. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, my favorite stereotypes are Panasonic and Sony.
What? Okay, yeah, yeah,
Stereotypes, like types
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
stereos.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so dumb. Man, this is my business
Some
partner,
people got it.
guys. Anyway, let's
Hey,
see. We
we
have
listened to a vibrational riser before this, so that's why we're feeling
that is true.
so
That is
vibey right
true.
now.
Should I talk about the inspiration of this topic?
Sure, yeah.
So I'm not gonna name where, but it did happen today. It was like a situation where I opened the door, had a certain encounter, and didn't feel safe in that environment for the next few hours. And the way I protect myself if I don't have my usual tools, like salt, etc., is I either ask my spirit guides, especially Akora, the snake that's around my neck, for further guidance. And it's one of the few times that he said, this situation is more complex. And I'm like, okay, what are we dealing with? And because the Nordic pantheon has something against snakes, he couldn't really do too much until we have a very clear target. So bit by bit, I started to play different frequencies, like raising up the atmospheric environment. It's a very powerful one, very powerful morphic field subliminal. And then I ended it with Return to Sender Black Magic Edition. And suddenly, all the heaviness that was in my body left. And as I'm going home, I'm just pondering, okay, from when to when? Like what was that bubble that I was in where I didn't feel safe? What happened? And I'm talking to Sumit via Telegram and we're going over the options and then we pinpoint who it is. Pop. And I realize, oh, that's the source. And without judgment, of course I'm a little bit pissed off because I'm like, bro, I don't even know you. We figured out, oh, this guy probably got bullied by individuals that look like me. And I'm like,
Mm.
oh, so I can't exactly blame him, but I don't even know you. So that might have even been racism that has been applied to someone, and then some stereotype has been accumulating, or at least how to react to my energy, I
Or it's just
suppose.
like a strange pain body attack sensation because it's like a trauma that has been lived through time, but then now it's coming up in the present. And it's like, it doesn't make logical sense why not being invited to a party makes you react. But then
Yeah.
there's this ancestral thing happening in the background that we don't know. It's like there's always this pull, you
Yeah,
know?
right, because we do have the
Yeah.
contracts of our ancestors, which means whether socially, physically, or spiritually, whatever contracts that they have signed, we have inherited in some way or form. As something we learned in New
Mm.
Zealand, uh, to both are, we're happy we found out what it is. We're not exactly thrilled that we have it. And because of that, you also have inherited disastrous or even malicious traumas from sources that do not benefit you in any way, shape, or form, which makes people, act in the way that they shouldn't, like, I don't know, what's the word again, very subservient for no fucking reason.
Mm.
Like
What
I
about
don't know,
what do
go
you
to
think about like hot go ahead. Yeah, finish your sentence.
now. I was gonna finish it with an example of people that have yet to work on their codependency code,
Mhm.
right? Tend to
Mhm.
portray this subservience a lot because they've been broken as a child, right? Either by neglect or whatever, and thus this tends to be expressed in
Mhm.
the environment when they're older as well. And I've been a part of that, and in some extent, I think I still have it. What are you going to say?
Man, what do you think of the way that Indians are portrayed in Hollywood?
Okay, which would be in essence, I think I shared a meme with you, life for hire. A cheap life for hire. That's how I see it. That's how it's being portrayed. A super smart, socially awkward, um, someone you can bully, etc., be it
Totally.
physically or contractually, etc., and they will do high
Mm,
technical jobs for a cheap price because for a price, the life is
wow.
yours.
Mm.
And
Yeah, it's like Raj from Big Bang Theory, right? Like the selective mutism, like you can't talk to women. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, turning that stuff into positive stereotypes and actually proving them wrong can actually give you some fuel.
possibly.
However, don't get wrapped in the ideals, man. Create your own archetypes. This is what we believe in the
So,
Primal Sutra.
would that be your answer towards dealing with the stereotypes and malicious racism?
Yeah, alchemy. Like turn the
Okay,
negative into positives, or reframe it or work with it until
okay.
it
Then I
transmutes.
would request Hermes to give a more solid explanation, seeing how we're in a little bit of a gray, watery area.
Well, it's exactly the Bruce Lee concept of
All right,
absorb what works, discard what doesn't, and add what's uniquely your own. Yeah, it's
right,
basically that. Like if a stereotype isn't helping you and your evolution move forward, it's not bettering you, and the criticism isn't actually getting you to better yourself, just drop it. Pick up something
right.
else that helps you.
So what it seems that you're saying is anything that empowers you, allow it to empower you. Anything that doesn't, discard it. Now, use
Right.
within reason, of course, because valid feedback is valid feedback. You know,
Totally. Totally.
if people
And
tend
it's
to
very
say,
needed. Yeah.
right, but that also means that you need to find trusted advisors,
Right. You want
definitely
constructive
within
criticism. You
no
don't want
constructive
like
criticism.
just blabbering from some yapper.
I mean, it is not a
Yeah.
roast battle, is what we're trying to say.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
It's not a roast battle.
not a roast battle.
Mm.
Uh,
One way I've been able to sense like a dark racist energy, especially well, I've noticed this from a specific entity too. It's very weird. I first of all noticed the face when I closed my eyes, and then I saw like a shadow out of the corner of my eyes. And then immediately I just felt this shame, like this deep level of shame just woo, wash through my body. And I'm
okay.
going, this isn't me. Like, what even is this
When
energy?
was this?
And this was during the Cthulhu days. Do you remember that?
That was almost a year ago, man.
A
Yeah,
year ago, yeah.
yeah. Jesus, I
Yeah.
hope he's doing
Gee.
well. Do not go
Now,
diving at night during full moon. Don't
yeah,
do it. It's too
definitely not.
cold. Don't do it. I'm doing mine
Definitely.
on the
Yeah. It was
22nd.
around the same time though, yeah, that
Yeah,
that energy picked up.
yeah, yeah.
It's interesting how Indians we look at shame, but in the West they look at guilt. So they're in the West they'll be like, "Oh, we're guilty for our actions, the things we're doing." But then Asia seems to be like, "We are bad people. It's shameful for our community, you know? Our reputation is crushed." It's all about the
Well,
self-image.
well,
So
not quite. I know where I see where you're coming from. At least
I
I
know
think I do.
of course it's a generalization, but it's
The
I
West
think
is
that's just what I've
individualistic.
observed.
So the West is
Yeah.
individualistic, and the East, the Asian countries
It's
tend to be
collectivist,
more
yeah.
group community. Exactly. So the community cannot feel guilt, I guess, but shame is a shared experience. I think could be.
Yeah, because it's cultural shame, yeah, too. Yeah,
Yeah.
associated with it. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense, and
Plus,
that's
plus, negative stereotypes tend to be enforced as well by our own people.
that's true.
How many times didn't either our own parents or family members tell us either not to work out or not to do martial arts and just focus on studies? Every fucking
Too
week
many
it's the same
times.
thing. And I'm like, bro, I want to be able to whoop someone's ass.
Mm.
That's what it's always been
Yeah,
about. It's
it's
either
just
I'm
not pushed.
strong
Yeah.
or I whoop someone's ass. You know?
Mm. Yeah, I
Preferably
definitely think
both.
every man needs to learn at least some kind of martial arts for sure, for his
Yeah,
own protection, for his tribe, self-defense, for his because he is the physical protection for his girl too. So it's like,
absolutely.
yeah, you need, yeah. Whereas she's your spiritual protection. Remember that.
Explain.
So she protects you in the metaphysical worlds, whereas you protect her in the physical world. So
Mm,
it's there's this reciprocity happening.
yeah,
And of course there's a little bit of both yin and yang, you know.
of
However,
course.
it's still yeah, it's still really relevant. It's very relevant, I think.
Given the topic, how can both sexes protect each other?
mm. I honestly think to understanding, because a lot of relationships, what tends to happen is there's expectations or unsaid things and
Yeah.
misunderstandings, instead of honest communication, you know, like just
Mm,
being real with each other. So I think dropping down the masks and just talking it out, that's
yeah.
the best way.
And
You
how
just gotta talk.
can
If you put up a wall, it's not gonna work. Like it's just gonna you're
exactly?
gonna spiral.
Yeah,
It's not good. Yeah.
yeah. We're in our final 15 minutes of this
That's
45
right.
minute
Any questions,
podcast.
guys? I know we've been jamming for a while. Jamming.
If no one's gonna ask questions, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I have a
And I
question.
hope
Did
this jam is gonna last.
no clue what music you're referring to, but anyway, did my
Bob
spell
Marley, bro.
work? Ah,
Did Ryan spell word? Yes.
perfect, perfect. Fuck 'em. I'm allowed one fuck every. I'm allowed one swear word every every podcast. Anyway.
You're just gonna say it again. Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mm, bad
so
boys. Yeah.
so is this the podcast where we explain what a handler is, according to Primal Sutra?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's important for people to know.
Hmm. Can we combine
How
the
would you
handler
describe
topic? Well, for those of you
yeah, I think
who
it's
have
definitely
watched,
related. It can be.
yeah, I can see that. But okay, so this would be my explanation. The explanation as far as I initially got to know of handlers would be those who are on your spiritual path as an obstacle. Deliberate obstacle, either by forces of darkness and affiliated. They're trying to either slow you down or completely put you to a stop, possibly even killing you. In the Matrix terms, it would be an Agent Smith of sorts. Now, I can imagine that if that team coupled with the team of racism are combined, something interesting happens, right?
Hmm.
Wasn't it with BBA that I said I started to date black girls because I used to be bullied by black dudes in my early youth to have a deeper understanding of
Yeah.
what's happening, right? And that's just
There's
kind of
always
what
a deeper
happened.
meaning. Like, yeah,
Always a deeper
you know,
meaning.
like even something like what you're attracted to always has a deeper meaning in terms of your psyche.
Yes,
And so,
yes.
yeah, I think it's important for us to reflect on that. Well, my definition of a handler, Ryan, is somebody who it's almost like adding glue or like quicksand on your path so it slows you down. Like somebody who
But
distracts you or like slows down your spiritual
it's like Mario Kart
inclination
and
or
you
your
get hit by
journey.
a turtle or something.
Yeah, it's like one of those banana peels or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, fucking banana
exactly.
peels.
So,
You know the
yeah, so
cruelty
it's
of
like
banana
Mario
peel
Kart. Yeah.
is sometimes you put a banana peel on the road and you're the idiot that runs over your own banana peel. That's is what it is.
It's racist.
I mean,
Have
What are
you
you
seen
supposed to
that one
do?
where it's like, where they're, Disney's making all like African American remakes of like, the
Well,
the
the
mermaid and
correct
like all.
analogy is all the gingers are being replaced with Africans in whatever sense.
What?
That's
Okay, I guess so, yeah. But then
yeah,
try that
like
with Tarzan, though. That's gonna be taken
I
off the air
mean, one
immediately.
Tarzan isn't ginger, so that doesn't work,
Yeah, it doesn't work. Oh, it has to be
and
Ginger. Okay.
it
I
has
see
to
what
be ginger.
Hollywood's doing.
And I don't know, this is just selling. I don't know. How would you call
You know
this?
where the word Hollywood comes from? Hollywood
Come
is
from
actually in
Hollywood.
Merlin's staff.
I see.
It's the wood used in Merlin's staff, the Hollywood. So there's mysticism and magic in Hollywood.
For
That's
sure. For sure.
for
But if
sure.
you're a conspiracy nut like me, we kind of already know that. The thing
Yeah, I
is,
think
how
we
can
gotta
we
stop
profit?
talking, right? After we just said that, like we're
Yeah.
being tracked right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. It's really funny. We know a lot. Let's just say that. So join our pathworking if you want to know more.
Well, one, it can't be the only magic tree. It can't be. Two, a tool is a tool, and I think the tool is being abused by egotistical psychopaths. Just
The Harkonnen.
hell-driven Harkonnen in nature. If you don't know what a Harkonnen is, I dare you to watch Dune. Any of
Watch
the
Dune.
versions is fine by me.
Watch Dune.
But it's the
Watch it
same
tonight.
thing as, like in Star Wars, where you have different wars being fought, and the people bankrolling all of these things are tend to be associated or involved or own the banking system. They don't care who dies, who gets killed, who gets whatever. They just want to see money. They just want to have money, power. They don't care about morals. And that's just how I see the Harkonnen energy. Is that roughly correct,
Mm,
Sumit?
pretty much. They're very power hungry and uh yeah, they're run by their own ego, basically. Yeah,
Or
their
about
own
their own ego?
self-preservation.
And speaking of
Yeah,
ego, the ego is supposed to be a facilitator, not a dictator.
right.
And you, as a shaman, must keep yourself in check at all times. And I've caught myself a few times today, even where
Yeah,
I
bro, me
want to
too.
show off. I want to show off, but then I
So,
have to ask myself, when is it in my best interest, or am I just fucking myself over trying to show off? And of course, it was the latter. Shut myself up, focus on what needed to be done, set myself up for success the coming weeks. That's all you have to do. The ego is a facilitator, not a dictator. And to those of you who got triggered by this episode, seeing how we have 7 minutes left, good. It should trigger you. It should. Even if it pisses you off that you think we're talking about the shit, which we are. Again, this is a podcast. This is not the actual product that we sell. We're just here to talk shit.
right.
Did you see the staff use at Notre Dame reopening ceremony? I did not. I didn't even
Yeah, it
know there
looks
was a
like a
reopening.
giant wizard staff, but it's
Ah,
yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Does that have some significance, the blue in the staff? I don't know.
I don't know.
It looked like a wizard staff for sure. Yeah.
What
Um,
what is the year of the heart energy summit? Is that next year?
mm, no. Mm,
Ah,
yeah,
stained
actually,
glass for the original little building.
it might
Okay.
be next year actually,
So
because
next
we are
year,
still in solar plexus as humanity. We're still in the kind of hustle mode. Um,
right. So next
yeah.
year, we might actually go to Stonehenge this time. This is good news for me
Mm,
because it's a fucking stone throw the other way, like that way across the ocean.
damn, you
I
have
can
to
either
really
take the
throw that in
car.
stone though.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah, right.
And the plan is pretty much going to be the same thing, like road tripping, like in the I guess the countryside of England or whatever.
Yeah, we go to
I've
all the
heard
ley
of,
lines across the planet,
yeah,
guys. So if you're ever tapped in and you want to show up to one
yeah.
of our retreats, just let us know, shoot us a message.
I
Yeah,
mean,
get on board.
Crystal, fucking join if we're going next year anyway. Save up money, figure out how to get there. Do let us know what time you want to go there so we can go as a group and protect each other. And again, it's gonna be very road trip-ish. So I hope you like, road tripping. I hope you can drive as well. Um, get in
We're
contact with the
changing the
locals.
format very slowly. Usually we
Yeah.
take on one student who's like very committed. Um, but
Yes.
yeah, we don't know what the next year will entail. I think maybe
Yes.
more people, the better. Yeah.
Oh, oh, thank God she can drive. Just someone that can drive other than me. It's fantastic. Anyway,
Bro, I could drive, I just choose not to.
yeah, 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 yeah. Shut up. Anyway, so happy we're going to Sedona. Gonna be visiting TXL. In New Mexico, we're gonna be visiting Powerhouse. Shout out to TXL and Powerhouse. I don't know who else we're gonna be meeting there. You never know. The Tesla Cuddle guy whose name I keep forgetting. Hopefully, we can
Yeah,
actually do a quick program
Banyaman.
of exactly healing the Mexicans there as well. And guys, don't forget, it's likely that we're going there in August, but it has yet to be decided. Our deadline between Sumit and myself is to make a decision at the end of this February, which is roughly the time I'll be graduating my master's, which is fantastic. And I still don't have a suit. Um,
All right.
and
All
for
right, guys, let's wrap up.
next year is
Yeah, go ahead.
likely we're going to be in June because then you have the winter solstice and it's prime
Mm,
time. Winter solstice, heart chakra, Stonehenge would be perfect.
mm.
Would be absolutely perfect. Yes.
Yeah. We just
And
have to
if you
follow the ways that our spirit
guides,
guides will
yeah,
lay it out for us. Yeah, basically. Yeah.
fantastic. That being said,
Awesome.
if you haven't signed up to the free program, you're losing out. What's the free program called, Sumit?
It's called spiritualmasterychallenge.com. It's also called Vajra Life Crash Course. So basically, it's going to be 5 days where you transform yourself, basically cleaning up all five bodies, so physical
Yeah,
body, mental body, and etc. And
yes,
yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, if you're tapped into that, you'll get access to certain videos, and you also get the Dragon Yoga that I've
yes,
so. I mean, I've researched it and just applied it for a
good.
while. So it's very effective in increasing your charisma. So definitely try that. And yeah, tap in. Let's get it. Upward Spiral Gang. Spiritualmasterychallenge.com, primalsutramysteryschool.com. Let's go.
Yes.
Peace, guys.